Jesse Simmons here with New Leaf Initiative Fund and Transit Trucking Company. We're on site, one of Transit Trucking Company's lots. I've got a recent graduate of our box truck basics course, Rashid behind me. Rashid has completed the box truck basics course. He has completed a ride along with me, and today he's preparing to go on his first solo trip with Transit Trucking Company. Behind me, he's doing his pre-trip inspection, making sure the truck's ready. And I think he's about wrapping up. Rashid, how we looking?
Everything's good to go. I have completed my pre-check, oil check, brakes, lights, all is complete. Check the cargo area is clean and good. I also logged into my ELD. I got the information for the load. I got
your pickup time?
Yeah, pickup time is for 12 o'clock. Also, I let the dispatch number 18, I'm gonna be a little bit late because of traffic, so I like 12:15, 12:30. Everything's ready to go.
All right, so we just gotta fuel up?
Fuel up, that's where we're headed now. GPS set to fuel up, and then we on the road.
What are we picking up today?
We pick up windows and doors.
Where are we taking them to?
Ohio.
All right, when are we gonna be back in town?
Wednesday night.
Let's get it.
Okay.
All right, Rashid, be safe.
All right.
All right, guys, it's a couple days later after Rashid went on his first solo trip. He delivered the windows and doors in Ohio, made it back from the return trip, parked his unit on our lot, and my role as operations manager includes checking on units when they return off the road and taking the opportunity while they're down to do a full inspection and complete any preventative maintenance the trucks need to remain running. Preventative maintenance is something that we're going to discuss in more detail later on down the road. It's a hugely important aspect of especially ownership or being an owner-operator with your own equipment. It's all about keeping those trucks healthy and moving. But today I kind of wanted to discuss Rashid's first trip and the road he took to get to that point. It's something new for us at Transit Trucking Company, bringing on someone that had zero experience with box trucks prior to applying for a job with us. In the past, we would only accept applicants that had 3 years of experience. And the reason for that is, although we are a non-CDL box truck company and we do not require any special license to operate a box truck, as I'm sure you can tell by what you've learned in this course so far, not just anybody can hop in one of these trucks and operate them safely and efficiently. It takes a working knowledge of box trucks, road safety, federal guidelines, and hours of service regulations. There's a whole slew of things that someone needs to know before they should or can get behind the wheel of a box truck, especially working with our company. Some of the issues the industry have had in the past, people have no business driving, taking their license with zero experience and hopping behind the wheel of a box truck and getting over the road and realizing they're in over their heads. So in the past, we've only hired people that had 3 years experience. It was a requirement. They had to provide professional references that verified that they know how to safely operate the vehicle. We would take them out on a road test before we gave them a job offer to ensure they really do know how to operate these vehicles. And we steered away from anyone that was inexperienced. There's a ton of people out there that love to get in the industry, but can't really, without experience, it's tough to hire somebody like that. And that was a lot of the reasons why Damien and I created the Box Truck Basics course, because we do want to bring in new blood to this industry. We want to pass along, what we have learned about box trucks. We want to reach back. We're big on that each one teach one model. We want to help, especially people coming home from prison. This is a great way to make a living, but you need an overview first of box trucks, and then you need some experience before you can confidently operate these vehicles. So Box Truck Basics is all about giving that overview And when you touch down, linking up with us to get that experience. And Rashid was the first to kind of go through that model with us. Rashid reached out to us a few months ago, and he was referred by a mutual business partner of ours. Said, hey, I got this guy that wants to learn box trucks. He doesn't have any experience, but he's willing to learn. And we put him through the box truck basics course, and he showed up to every course, asked questions, and learned. He got behind the wheel with us on a ride along, and on his next ride along, he was riding passenger on a long haul. I did, and when I felt confident that he could safely operate the vehicle with me in it, we did another ride along, but this time with me in the passenger seat. So Rashid went from having zero knowledge of this industry to now having a full-time job with Team Transit through the work he did with box truck basics. So I wanted to give a little background information about Rashid. And FYI, he did fantastic on his first trip. He followed all our policies regarding to communication, safely operating the truck, completing his ELD logs, his electronic logging device logs. He remained in his hours of service, did a fantastic job. We're heading to the lot now, and we'll see how he maintained the equipment. There's some things, when you come off the road, work ain't done. You got to sweep out that cab and clean up your cargo area. It's got to be ready to go back to work. So that's kind of Rashid's story, and I kind of wanted to take this time on this drive to the lot to also kind of discuss things we look for in applicants for transit trucking company and people interested in taking this course. Some of the tangible and intangible things we as a company and as course teachers are looking for. So some of the tangible things, the physical things we need for an applicant. Less so for somebody in the coursework setting, but for an applicant, we need a driver's license front and back. We need a copy of their DOT physical, which is basically a doctor signing off that you can safely operate a commercial motor vehicle for extended periods of time. You are physically fit enough to do so. It's something that can be done as a walk-in. You pay out of pocket. They have them all over. You Google search online, DOT physical near me, you'll find one. Walk in, it generally costs anywhere from $80 to $150, and they examine your eyes, your weight, your blood pressure, your mobility, if you can move and lift your arms and turn your neck, anything that you can think of that might apply to safely driving. And the doctor, after performing this exam, he or she will sign off on your DOT med card, and often with a clean bill of health, it needs to be renewed only every 2 years. Perhaps you have some pre-existing condition like high blood pressure or obesity. They might sign off and you need to get it renewed every 6 months. It all depends. But we require the DOT med card. It's a requirement of the federal government. All commercial drivers must have one. We also require a recent copy of a motor vehicle record. Driver applicants have to supply us with a copy of their driving record. And this, again, it's a requirement of the federal government, but it's also a great, it's a great way for us to screen out people that have no business getting behind the wheel. I can't stress enough for prospective drivers or people that have a driving job how important it is to have a clean driving record. A single ticket can really cost you your career. For us, our insurance, which kind of goes hand in hand with the safety manual all applicants have to sign off on, it requires that you have no more than 2 minor incidents in the last 12 months. And a minor incident could be, a speeding ticket that is no more than 10 miles per hour of the speed limit. It could be an illegal lane shift. Those minor incidents, you can have no more than 2 of them in the last 12 months. You can have no major incidents in the last 3 years. A major incident might be a speeding ticket going in excess of 10 miles over the speed limit. It could be an at-fault accident. There's a variety of things that count as major incidences. Obviously, no DUIs the last 7 years. And if your license was suspended, perhaps because of failure to pay child support, I'm not going to get into whether that's right or wrong. It's just simply our insurance. You need to have your license active for 2 years following a suspension in order to get on our policy. So some of the safety practices and procedures we have around driving records are put in place for 2 reasons. One, everyone has to get added onto our insurance policy before they can work for us. And our insurance will also pull your MVR, and if they see something on there that goes against the guidelines I just presented, they'll either tell us that you cannot be on the policy, period. They might say, hey, you can put them on the policy, but we might cancel your coverage. Or they'll say, you can add them to the policy. They have 2 points, but it's going to increase your premiums. Premiums are what you pay monthly for insurance, what we as a company pay monthly. And if anybody raises our premiums, it's normally a no-go. We're not in here to lose money. We would rather just hire an applicant with a clean driving record. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking to get into this field, maybe you're coming home from an institutional setting and you have no points because you haven't had a license in X amount of years. But when you come home, get your license, obey the rules of the road. Pay attention. Treat it like it's your job, because it really is. You get a speeding ticket in your personal vehicle, you might be clapped from working for somebody for 2-3 years. We won't hire you. It's very important. Some of the other things we look for, we mentioned the DOT physical, driver's license front and back, motor vehicle record. Those are all things applicants must present to even get a call back from us. Those are all the tangible things I had mentioned. The intangible things, the things that aren't really, you can't readily see about an applicant on paper, but can be discerned through conversations with the applicant and by, FaceTime and spending time with them. Those intangibles are things like an individual's character, their communication, their professionalism. I can't stress enough how important communication is in this business. When you are driving box trucks, every single job you're on, you might have 4 or 5 parties all coordinating together to get the job done. They could be, on every job you got a dispatcher, you've got a shipper, you've got a receiver, you've got a broker, and there might be a couple others mixed in, and we're all in constant communication because people want to know where their stuff is, when it's going to be there, is it arriving safely, and that all entails crystal clear communication between all parties involved. We're real big on written communication, text, emails. Those are verifiable. There's a record left behind of them, so we take pride in our written communication, and we look for that from our drivers. We steer away from slang, acronyms that aren't industry specific, and by that I mean, in trucking, every industry they have what's called jargon, which if you're not a trucker, you might not know it, but it's acronyms or verbiage we use specific to our industry. Just for some examples for trucking, it's a BOL, bill of lading, HOS, hours of service, PU for pickup, DO for drop off. I could go on and on. There's a lot of acronyms that we use and we encourage people to use in truck driving because it makes our communication quicker. But there's a lot of slang and jargon, or slang and acronyms that you might have grown up using, talking to your homeboys on the cell phone, that have no place in this industry. They might not be understood by all. You have people that in this industry, there's a lot of people that didn't grow up in America, or might not know what the heck BRB means. So when you text or email stuff like that, you're not ensuring everybody knows what's going on. So we include that in our communication piece on how we communicate professionally with one another. Communication's huge. Professionalism. And by professionalism, that encompasses a whole lot of things, but for now I'm going to talk about like our appearance. You dress for the job you want, you dress for the job you have. We've had instances where people show up for job interviews and they got a backwoods sweater on. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I wasn't, but I looked at it. It's obviously a marijuana company. This guy showed up in a job with a commercial to drive trucks commercially for us, and he's wearing a backwoods sweatshirt. Right? Some people might not see the issue with that, and I would say to those people, you haven't been in a professional business before, because I don't want somebody representing me in my commercial vehicle hopping out the truck in a backwoods sweatshirt advertising a weed company. I don't care what you wear in your off time, but when we're here for work, we dress for the job and we drive trucks. We don't need to wear a suit and tie, but we need to look like we're where we're supposed to be, with boots on, work jeans, warm clothes. I don't want to see a bunch of branded stuff on my drivers. We're not here advertising for other companies. Wear something for your company or wear something unbranded. And it just really shows that you're a professional when you look the part. First impressions, they're huge. So that's part of our professionalism, part of how we expect our drivers to present themselves. It goes across the board in life, man. You dress not for the job you have, the job you want. That's a big part of the intangibles we look for. But other than things, they're things that, they're just important in life. Doing what you say you're going to do. Showing up when you say you're going to show up. Punctuality. We already talked about the communication piece. These are things that, we suss out over time. How hungry and eager somebody is. What do they do when nobody's watching them? Do they still do their job? Do they just breeze through their pre-trip, just mark it off on a computer and they're not actually doing it? In due time, we'll find out. You don't do a proper pre-trip. If Rashid didn't do his pre-trips and there's something wrong with the truck, here, I'll know he didn't do a proper pre-trip because he didn't tell me there was anything wrong with the truck. So when I get on site and if I find something, I know he didn't do a proper pre-trip. But those are just part of some of the intangibles we look for that aren't readily apparent just from an interview or meeting somebody once. I just want to discuss some of those things with you guys today. I'm pulling up on the lot. I'm sure Rashid did his job because he went through the training. He knows what he's looking for. Now my job's to make sure his truck can go back out tomorrow. And while I'm there, I'll be doing some oil changes, greasing some chassis, and taking a look at some of our other units. It's a rainy, miserable day. It just comes with the territory.